right, we're here today to install the DOSATRON rack that we assembled in our last video. So here at a friend's house, I went ahead and took out his stock tanks and cleared the wall up for our installation, and we're gonna jump right into it. The first thing I'm doing is cutting a piece of unistrut, and I'm gonna mount the DOSA rack to this unistrut. So let's get right into it. I've already pre-measured this, so I know exactly where I wanna be. All right, we got our strut mounted to the wall, which looks good. I'm gonna go grab our first rack. Set where we want, so now we'll get two more. So here we have these unistrut nuts. You can see how it holds the nut right in there, and I'm just getting these brackets set up for us so it's just ready to go when we snap these different units in place. Just getting the thread started. I'm not tightening them down. That way we can slide them on this strut. So once we just kind of get it hand tight, you can see how I can slide this to where I need it to, kind of. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. This is our first setup, and I'm thinking we're gonna go right there. So what I'm doing is I'm just gonna get this set up wherever that needs to go. Just moving it because the way this is set up, the water's coming from that side and the water needs to go back, so our input is right here. You know, I just want to make sure that I can get this filter out and put it back on. Okay, so now we're going to get our second section. Okay. This is where you get creative with this rack. So this rack is universal for what we want to do with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to come off the back of this with an elbow. Elbow's going to have to come down and then go into this. And this goes out to our rooms. And this is gonna attach to this. So what we're gonna have to do, so it's gonna have to go like this. is going to come from up there. This is going to go to that. PH, EC. This comes from up there, and then this goes to there. Okay, and that's going to go into that. Piece of 3/4 inch that comes down. So you can see I'm pulling some of these parts apart, but I'm still using them. I'm just putting them in different locations. That's what makes this kit so nice to use. We didn't have the whole room for the rack here, so we have to customize what's going where. Okay, so that's that. So now that's gonna go right there. That's output, so output needs to get over to that. So that turns into 3/4. There's my 3/4 run, that'll go over there, feed the end of the dosers, and then I gotta come out of this into that. Okay, so we just had to go run, grab a couple elbows, a few pieces. Everybody's installation is gonna be a little different, and so we're trying to figure out now, we're looking to plumb back into his main system. So as you can see, we have our tank, our pump, all of our controls. So I need to go out of the pump to the beginning of the DOSATRON rack, and then out of the back of the rack to the monitor kit, and then to our irrigation. So that's what I'm working on right now. This is gonna come from, I need to come out of this up to that. So I'm gonna start working on getting the last bit of this mounted, and you'll see what we're doing. So I need to mount this off the wall. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. So I always like to make sure everything I'm doing is level and plumb. And all this is for support. Okay, so let's just see if that's gonna do what I think, or what I planned it to do. Not 8 3/4. Zip ties are your best friend when you don't have somebody helping you. Nice. Okay, so now I gotta come down and hit this. So basically, out of the pump, to the front of the skid, through the dosers, through the monitor system, out to the rooms. Okay. All right, so after a week of running our dosers, I've come to the conclusion that based on specifications and recommendations from my Athena team and from DOSATRON, I was not moving enough water through my dosers. The dosers were not having enough water operate through them to make them, move and pump the nutrients efficiently. So I wanted to show you what I did, my DIY, what I came up with to solve that solution. So you see here the doser rack that we came up with. It's coming from our freshwater RO supply, and then it was going out of our monitoring kit directly to the room. So what I went ahead and did is I interrupted this process. Now what I do is I went and picked up a 32-gallon trash can, and I have the trash can going out from the end of the DOSATRON. And I've installed a double float on this. And what that double float allows me to do is the second float is an emergency float that never allows us to fill up too high. So now what we have is as much as the water, as fast as the water can pump, it'll fill the barrel, it'll sit in the barrel, it'll mix, and then from the barrel it'll go out to our room. So to give you a little demonstration, I'm going to move this float and you'll see how this whole thing operates now. So we have our can float in here. As this gets moved, it fills up and you can see the high float of everything mixing. When the float reaches its level, it shuts it off. So now we know that this is mixing really well. The water has some time to adjust, our pH, everything like that. So this is now our nutrient reservoir, and then this goes from this liter pump into our room, into our filters and everything like that. So if you are not moving at least 2 gallons per minute, it's best for you to have the nutrient tank. And in all reality, it's probably better to dose into a nutrient tank, let it all mix, sit for a minute before going right to the plants. I do have some locations where we're going right to the plants and there's no issues. This is just a nice way to always have it ready, have it mixed, then it's ready to go to the room. So wanted to add to that to our previous video to give you those options and show you another solution. Thank you.